Of all the baking recipes and experiments I posted this year, these were the top 3. With just a few minor changes, you can make 3 distinctly different pieces of candy. All 3 start by heating corn syrup, sugar, and water together. For brittle, just before the sugar caramelizes, add peanuts and continue to cook until a light golden brown. At this point, turn off the heat and mix in a teaspoon of baking soda. The high heat causes the baking soda to immediately react and lighten the brittle. Once cool, the candy is thin and crisp with a few visible air pockets still inside. Honeycomb starts the same way, but leaves out the peanuts and this time uses a full tablespoon of baking soda. The reaction is much larger and causes the candy to puff up significantly more than before. The result is a thicker candy with a distinct crunch that is still light and airy from all the air bubbles trapped inside. Finally, sponge candy includes one extra ingredient. Once the sugar is light golden brown, gelatin is mixed in to give the candy more structure. After adding a tablespoon of baking soda and letting cool, the sponge candy holds its shape for a tall and crisp confection with an even and fine texture inside. When making brownies, the mixing method is just as important as the ingredients. The creaming method starts by mixing sugar and butter together until fluffy and finishes with the eggs and dry ingredients. Because of all the air incorporated in the first step, these brownies are the cakiest, and since the cocoa powder is added at the end, the cocoa flavor is the most intense. The sponge method, on the other hand, starts by mixing eggs and sugar together. The cocoa is mixed with butter and then added before finishing with the flour. This time, because the sugar has had time to dissolve in the eggs, the brownies have a shiny, crackly top. The texture inside is much fudgier, and because the cocoa bloomed in the hot butter, the chocolate flavor is smoother. Finally, in the wet and dry method, the cocoa and all the wet ingredients are mixed together before adding the dry. The top is still shiny from the sugar dissolving into the wet ingredients, and since there wasn't any air incorporated into the batter, the texture is the densest and chewiest of all 3. Instead of relying on a timer, practice learning the signs of when baked goods are done. For chocolate lava cakes, when a toothpick inserted at the edge comes out with wet batter attached, the cake is still underbaked. Removing it from the oven at this point will leave a cake that immediately collapses after unmolding. On the other hand, if a toothpick inserted in the center comes out almost entirely clean, the lava cake is overbaked. This time, the entire structure of the cake has had time to set up, so instead you end up with a fully baked sponge cake. For a perfect chocolate cake with a lava center, a toothpick inserted at the edge should come out nearly clean, but if you insert it in the center, there should still be wet batter attached. This time, the cake has just enough structure to hold its shape when unmolding, but has a rich chocolate lava center.